Ever see a man in his 70s or 80s who still lights up a room, eyes sharp, shoulders back? He doesn't just walk, he moves with presence. There's a calm power in him, a quiet fire that never went out. He laughs like life still tastes good. And then there's the other kind, same age, same life, but something's missing. The light's not gone, just faint, like a flame flickering in the wind. And you wonder, how does that happen? What is it that keeps one man lit from within, while another starts to disappear before his time? It's not money, not luck, not how many miles he walks or what he eats. The truth, it's something more subtle, more personal, and something most men were never taught to protect. It's the part of you that still wants to feel, not just strong, but connected, not just capable, but present. And when that connection slips away, so does your spark. This isn't about youth, it's about vitality, about whether or not you've stayed close to the rhythm inside you, or whether it's grown quiet. Let's talk about that right now, together. Hello and welcome, I'm Dr. Laura. Think of me as a guide, not just in health, but in how to feel alive again as you age. Because aging doesn't have to mean fading. Not your body, not your mind, and definitely not your spirit. Today, I want to share something with you. Something that could transform how you walk through your later years. Something most men never hear, but deeply need to. You've seen it, that man who walks in and still has that energy, that presence, that spark. Strong posture, clear eyes, the kind of confidence that doesn't need to speak loudly to be heard. And then you've seen the others, the ones who begin to disappear slowly, quietly before their time, not because they want to, but because they were told. This is just how it is. But it's not. There's a part of your life you may have buried, not out of choice, but out of habit or shame or silence. And today, we bring it back. But before we go any further, I want to hear from you, because your story matters. And this conversation isn't just mine, it's ours. Where are you watching from? And what's been shifting in your energy lately? Let's talk man to man. This space is for you. No shame, no judgment, just truth. And if something in this speaks to you, share it. There's another man out there who needs to hear it too. So let's dig deeper into this, because what you're feeling, what you're noticing, isn't just a personal experience. It's part of a quiet divide that separates how men age. Why do some men keep their spark, while others lose it before they're even done living? You've seen it. There's that man in his late 70s, maybe early 80s, who still moves like life hasn't let go of him. He hikes with his grandkids, tells stories that make people really listen. He's got color in his face, still laughs from the belly, still walks with purpose. And then there's the other kind, the man who begins to disappear at 62. He slows down. His voice grows quieter, his eyes not as bright. Not because he wants to fade, but because somewhere along the way someone told him it was inevitable, that aging meant decline, that desire was something to leave behind. I see it every week. One man thriving, the other just surviving. So what's the difference? It's not just diet or exercise or genetics. Those matter, but they're not the core. The core is this, your connection to your body, and more specifically, your connection to your inner spark, the part of you that still craves closeness, presence, and vitality. Yeah, I said it. Solo intimacy. Now I know, for some of you that might feel awkward. It was probably shamed, ignored, or silenced when you were younger. Maybe you were told real men don't talk about that, or that it was wrong, or selfish. But here's the truth you were never given. Solo connection isn't about lust. It's about life. It's about staying alive in your brain, in your blood, in your bones. It's a part of your biology that was never meant to be shut down. And when you ignore it, when you disconnect from it, you start to shrink. Slowly, quietly, sometimes without even noticing. But when you stay connected to that part of yourself, you stay sharper, stronger, more emotionally present. You carry light in your eyes, even at 80. That's the hidden divide. And it's not about youth. It's about whether you still listen to the voice of your own body or whether you've let silence take its place. And that's what we're here to change, right now, together. Let's talk about why this matters and why it's not too late to reclaim that spark, because to really understand how to reclaim it, we need to shine a light on the one thing almost no one talks about. Let's name it. The word itself might make you flinch a little. Private connection. For some men, that phrase brings a smirk. For others, it brings silence. Especially if you grew up in a time when real men were told not to connect with themselves, not to talk about it, not to even think about it unless it was hidden, rushed, or buried under shame. Maybe a teacher told you it was wrong. Maybe a parent, a pastor, or a coach. Maybe you heard the message loud and clear. You're not supposed to enjoy your own body, so you shut it down, and over time, you stopped listening. But here's the truth. That shame. It doesn't belong to you. It was handed to you, passed down like an old coat that never fit. Your body didn't forget how to feel. It was trained to stay silent. And that silence, it disconnects you, not just from closeness, but from power, from clarity, confidence, vitality, from the spark that once made you feel fully, unapologetically alive. Now, I'm not saying it's easy to unlearn all that, to reach for a part of yourself that's been hidden for decades, but I am saying this. Solo connection is not just a private act. It's a practice of health, of longevity, of staying grounded in your own skin. It's not about chasing desire, it's about reconnecting with the core of who you are. When you give yourself permission to feel again, without guilt, without hurry, you begin to wake up your body from the inside out. Your energy rises, your focus sharpens, and emotionally, you start to feel steady again. This isn't about being 20. It's about being present, being whole, being alive in the most grounded, self-honoring way. And it starts with breaking the silence, right here, right now, with a conversation most men were never allowed to have. But you're having it now, and that changes everything. Because what we're talking about isn't just emotional, it's physical, real, biological. Your body responds in ways most men never realize. Let's talk about what your body actually does when you stay connected to it. Because this isn't just feel-good talk, it's science. Hard facts backed by real research, and it's more powerful than most men realize. Every time you engage in solo intimacy, not out of guilt or habit, but from curiosity and connection, your body responds. Not with shame, with life. You trigger a chemical reaction that's meant to sustain you, a hormonal cascade designed to keep you strong, sharp, and steady as you age. You release testosterone, that fuel behind your stamina, your strength, your confidence. You release oxytocin, the bonding hormone, which calms your nervous system and lowers anxiety. You release endorphins, nature's own relief system, easing joint stiffness, tension, even helping you sleep deeper at night. But hormones are just the beginning. When you reconnect with yourself with presence, you're not just creating sensation, you're boosting blood flow. It's like a tune-up for your entire circulatory system. Blood rushes to your brain, sparking memory, sharpening focus, reinforcing neural pathways that fight off decline. It flows to your heart, improving cardiovascular health, helping regulate blood pressure, and increasing stamina. And yes, it flows to your lower region. That blood keeps the tissues alive, the muscles engaged, and your functions strong, even as you age. Think of it like this. Every time you stimulate that connection, you're keeping the engine running. You're not just preserving function, you're preserving freedom. Studies back this up. One from the University of Finland found that men between 55 and 75 who maintained regular intimate activity with a partner or solo had significantly lower risks of heart disease. Even better, They scored higher on memory tests, emotional regulation, and mental clarity. This isn't just about desire. It's about defense against aging, against decline, against disconnection. Because your vital connection is more than closeness. It's the oil that keeps the machine running, and without it, things start to slow, then seize, then stop. But with it, you stay in motion, you stay alive. And that's what this is really about. But just as there's power in staying connected, there's a price when you're not. And that cost runs deeper than most of us ever talk about. Let's be honest. What happens when a man stops connecting with this part of himself, the part that feels, the part that remembers he's alive? You might think it's harmless, maybe even necessary. You tell yourself it's part of getting older. That desire fades, that function fades, and maybe you fade right along with it. But here's what most men never hear. Disconnection comes with a cost, a steep one. Studies show that when men stop engaging in intimate activity, including solo connection, they don't just miss out on closeness. They lose mental clarity, they face higher stress levels, and their immune system weakens over time. Think about that. Not nurturing that connection affects your ability to fight off illness, to focus, to sleep, to feel like yourself. Imagine your body as a finely tuned machine, strong, capable, built for endurance. But even the best machine needs oil, not just once but regularly. Take away that lubrication and then slowly parts begin to stick. The gears grind, the motor strains, eventually, and it doesn't move at all. Your vital connection is that oil. It's not a luxury, it's not indulgence, it's maintenance. When you stop using that system, not only do the muscles weaken, but the signals between your brain and body begin to fade, like a radio drifting out of tune. What used to be clear becomes static, disconnected, and you may not notice it at first. It happens slowly, bit by bit, a little less energy, a little less drive. Then one day you wake up and that spark is just gone. But here's the thing, it's not permanent. That spark isn't lost. It's just waiting for you. To reach back, to listen to your body again, to remember what it feels like to move, not just physically, but emotionally. Because the real cost of disconnection isn't just in your body, it's in your soul. And now, you have the chance to reconnect before it's too late. And if that still feels distant or abstract, let me show you what it looks like in real life when a man finds his way back to himself. Let me tell you about John. He's 72, retired mechanic, hands like leather, heart like iron. The kind of man who never complained, just kept working, kept fixing. Even when life broke something in him, when he first sat down across from me, he didn't say much. Just looked tired, foggy, disconnected. It's like something's gone quiet inside, he said. I don't feel like myself anymore. His wife had passed a few years back, and with her went the last thread of connection he had to his own body, to closeness, to care, to touch. He told me he hadn't felt like a man in years, not because of age, but because he stopped feeling, period. We talked. Not about pills or diets, but about reconnection, about giving himself permission to rediscover his body, not to replace her, but to honor him. At first it felt strange, he said, but slowly something shifted. 6 months later, John walked back into my office, grinning. His sleep had improved. His blood pressure dropped. He'd even started tinkering again in that dusty garage, fixing things, laughing again. But more than that, he looked awake, alive. He hadn't gone anywhere. He'd just forgotten how to come home to himself. And now he had his spark back. It wasn't lost. It was just waiting for him to remember. And John's not alone. Because the truth is, many men stop. Not because they want to, but because life, pain, or silence got in the way. Let's talk about why so many men stop. Not just physically, but emotionally. Most won't say it out loud, but the reasons are real. Privacy, health issues, medication side effects, years of shame wrapped around the idea of closeness. Maybe you've got a partner who's not interested anymore. Maybe you lost someone you loved. Or maybe you just slowly gave up, thinking this part of life had run its course. But here's the truth. Your body didn't forget how to feel. It's still there, waiting, quiet, but not broken. You were just taught to stop listening, taught that men don't need softness, that pleasure was childish, or worse, wrong. But none of that is true. Those were lies passed down by people who didn't know any better, and you don't have to carry them anymore. Reconnecting with yourself isn't weakness, it's strength. It's the decision to show up for your body as it is now, not as it was at 30, but as it stands today, resilient, wise, and still deeply capable. You don't need to perform, you don't need to impress, you just need to return, to listen, to breathe, to honor your body like a place you're allowed to live in again, because this isn't about seed dulls. It's about vitality, about reclaiming what was never supposed to be lost. So no matter how long it's been, you can begin again. And it starts with one choice: don't stop. But if you have, if it's been months, years, or even decades, here's how you can start again. Gently, with no pressure. Just presence. So how do you begin? How do you return to a part of yourself that's been quiet for years? Maybe even decades. You start gently. No pressure, no need to perform. This isn't about getting back to how things used to be. It's about being present with the man you are right now. Step 1, give yourself permission to be curious, to explore, to feel again, without rushing, without guilt. Find a space where you can relax, somewhere quiet, comfortable, not clinical, kind. Dim the lights. Play soft music if that helps you settle in. Take a breath, then take another. Let your mind slow down and let your hands follow your breath. Start by placing your palms over your chest, your stomach, your thighs, not to arouse, but to awaken. Touch your skin like it's sacred, because it is. You've lived through storms, you've carried grief, stress, responsibility. You've survived more than you give yourself credit for, and your body, even now, still longs to feel good, to feel safe, to feel like it belongs to you again. Use slow, mindful movements. Try warming lotions or soft fabrics. Explore your body without expectation. No finish line, no pressure to be hard or fast or ready, just presence. Some men find that breathing deeply, from the belly, helps release old tension. Others start by reconnecting through areas beyond the core, the neck, the inner thighs, the back of the knees. Places where nerves remember comfort. Let go of what you think it should feel like, and let it become what it wants to feel like. This is your spark, waiting for breath, touch, and time to light again. You don't have to force it, you just have to show up. That's the practice, that's the healing, and that's how you begin. Let me leave you with this. Your desire didn't disappear, it didn't die, it just went quiet, buried, not broken. Still alive beneath the noise of years and silence. You were never meant to shut it off, but you did, like so many men were taught to be strong, to be tough, to be numb. But numbness isn't strength, it's disconnection. And it costs more than we realize. What if you gave yourself permission to feel again, to reconnect with your body, not in shame, but in reverence, to explore not what's left of you, but what's still burning inside you? Because the man you once were, the one with energy, mischief, presence, and fire, he's not gone. He's waiting for you to come back, to slow down, to remember that you're not too old. You're just out of rhythm. Reconnect. And you reconnect with your power, with your mind, with the part of you that never stopped wanting to live. This isn't about lust, it's about wholeness. It's about reclaiming the relationship that matters most, the one with yourself. So take the first step. And if this spoke to you, drop a comment below. Tell me what resonated, or just type "I'm here." Let's break this silence together. Let's remind each other that aliveness doesn't have an expiration date. It just needs to be invited back in.